plenty of time for it in the months ahead. And so a midpoint in the 80 vote. And to all those voices and faces we shall see no more, to Lyndon LaRouche and Bob Dole and Jerry Brown and Phil Crane, this just handed to me. Live from New York, it's Saturday night.
Hello and welcome to the Not Ready for Primetime Project. We're Gary Seath and Brad Robinson.
And you're not.
This week on the early years of SNL, we're talking about Season 5, Episode 20, with host Buck Henry and musical guests Andrew Gold and Andrae Crouch and Voices of Unity. This show originally aired on May 24th, 1980. Brad, this is the end.
We made it.
Barely.
Should have taken the over.
I didn't. I took the under.
Wow. How about that? Buck is back, of course.
Buck is back, and I feel like this episode is, he leaves his mark all over this episode. It's riddled with Buckisms, in my opinion.
See that? Yeah. The only thing non-Buckish is the monologue, actually, which it's very Buck-centric, but it's not a typical Buck of like, they don't make fun of Buck this episode. Almost
right.
Every other, it's either the cold open or the monologue. They take jabs at Buck, and this one, obviously, for reasons, takes a different turn.
Yeah, it's an interesting episode to be the last episode. I mean, they make no bones about it, really. It's fascinating to watch it.
There's a lot of interesting choices, yes, between sketches and musical guests and things they do to point out it could be the last show ever. They really lean into it, and it's interesting just how far they go or how much they straddle that line the whole night. Yeah,
a lot of recurring characters we see throughout the night, kind of getting them in while they can, it seems like. And
I did have that feeling at one point where it's like, here you go.
Exactly, because they were all back to back to back.
Yeah,
definitely. But it's a fun episode for the last one. Again, it's Buck. And I feel like
it is fun. There's not a lot of misses, really. I mean, really just one, I'd say, maybe. And it's fun. It's more enjoyable than you would think, both for season 5 and the end of it is the end of the era.
Right.
And then just how you've gone on this journey. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting show. Of course, Buck's on for no reason, so we all know Buck Henry at this point.
Right.
Everyone.
Well, he's on because it's the last show of the season.
As he'll joke in the monologue, of course we all know Buck.
Right.
Oh, guess what, though? Speaking of multiple hosts of SNL, I learned a Paul Simon story today that you might like.
Oh, okay.
I was listening to our buddy Seth Abramovich's podcast. It happened in Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
His guest is on about Eyes Wide Shut, and they end up talking about The Shining with Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
You remember that Shelley Duvall used to date Paul Simon?
Yes.
So they told this story. I had never heard that one of the reasons or one of the things that may have led to Shelley Duvall being so kind of frazzled and like on edge and whatnot, aside from Stanley Kubrick on filming The Shining, is that your boy, Paul Simon, broke up with her literally at the airport when she left to go to London to start shooting the film.
Really?
That's
weirdo.
What they said. Yeah.
Oh, Paul Simon. Oh, that's a bummer. Should we just get into it?
One last time, might as well.
Oh, all right. So the cold open starts with Harry Shearer as Frank Reynolds of ABC News highlighting the upcoming consolation debate between George Bush and Ted Kennedy. So we get the two losers in the presidential primaries. We have Jim Downey doing his Bush impression and Bill doing Ted Kennedy again. And we go to, what are highlights or clips of speeches that they have given earlier in the week, I guess. It was fun. I always like seeing Downey do his George Bush thing.
I agree. He's very Downey, and you can see how that portrayal would play later years. Like early Dana Carvey is very much Jim Downey.
Yeah, that's true. It's interesting.
Yeah, and Harry Shearer's Frank Reynolds again is good. And I mean, I don't need to see Bill do Ted Kennedy anymore, but
the crowd was excited to see Bill do Ted Kennedy.
They were. Yeah, you're right. I'll give you that.
It was an enthusiastic crowd throughout the night, though. So
you're right.
Get
You're
used
right.
to that.
They're yeah.
They were into it, which was nice. I enjoyed that.
If only the cold open ended there.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. That could have been a very nice, tight cold open that I would have enjoyed.
You kind of did describe a really nice cold open.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I liked. That was the part of the cold open I liked. And I thought this was good. But no, we go back to Harry as Frank Reynolds. And he starts talking about the polls. And he brings on a pollster played by Paul Schaefer with a mustache, Oliver Solenko. And he starts talking about different pieces of the pie that different voting groups have. Like women and blacks and
Catholics, maybe
Protestants. Yeah. And instead of doing a typical pie chart, he's taking pieces of what looks like an apple pie and just smashing them on this chalkboard, really.
This felt like such an Ebersol joke.
God, it was so not funny.
No. And then, of course, I'm upset. I'm like, why is each slice of the pie the same pie? It should be different pies.
I had the same thought.
You should have different pies.
Yes.
Regardless of how bad this joke is, at least do it proper.
Yes. I had the same exact thought. Each of the different groups should be different types of pie. 100%. Yes. I can't believe that's what we took away from that.
I know. And it's just, it's like kind of just weird and sloppy. And I don't know what this Paul Schaefer piece of it brought to the sketch, because what you described and their performances were good. It was a fun back and forth. I would have liked to have seen more of that consolation debate. And then they sign off, because then they go back to Harry, who gets the distinction of having the last Live from New York in the original era. But it also felt like really abrupt. Like it kind of like shut up. Like the sketch stopped right away.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, here I go, Live from New York. It's Saturday night. So it's just very weird where you had the blueprints for something tried and true, a debate type sketch.
Right.
Or at least debate report. And they only cut to Downey once, maybe twice, Bill once, and then it's Harry, and then the Paul Scheer thing. So it was an odd way to go out of the cold open.
I agree. It was kind of disappointing that it kept going, because I thought that it could have been a nice tight cold open, but the Paul Schaefer thing did nothing for me.
No.
That's a bummer. Well, our last opening credits, Brad, they gave featured roles to damn near everyone except for Zweibel and Schiller.
Zweebs got screwed.
Yes, I know. I was like, everyone gets a featured and you can't even give it to Zweibel. That was a bummer. Anyway, then Buck comes down for the monologue. He walks through the turnstile, as I know you like.
Very nice.
And this monologue is not a typical Buck monologue that we're used to, where they make fun of Buck, whether it's through a crawl or some other way. This is Buck talking about the end of SNL, and then he announces that it will be back next year with a new cast, and he's going to introduce the new cast to everyone.
He even says new producer, doesn't he? He's like, a new producer.
Does he?
He says new producer.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think you're right. We get a bunch of, we get our old friend Matt Newman.
Yeah, we talked about this. Well, Matt wrote this with Lorne and Don Novello and Herb Sargent,
right.
This whole idea of let's bring out a new cast, which, as you said, this is right off the bat. They're leaning into it, whether or not will the show, won't it come back? And I think it's kind of a ballsy piece here we'll talk about, I think the show throwing their cards on the table a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because I don't know, I mean, you would know this better than me, what the general public, I guess, knew about all of this. And this is something that we've talked about with other sketches in the past of like how inside baseball is this joke at this time versus, what people are aware of in the zeitgeist, I guess, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think the general public wasn't, casual fan wasn't that dialed in, but I mean, it was kind of obvious. The ratings had been, not as strong as they were past seasons. Obviously, the cast had been shaking up, so you don't know what's going on. Material, as we discovered, wasn't as good as it's been. So I think even if you're a casual observer, like some signs are on the wall a little bit. But I think this was more of in my mind, in the stories I make up, I feel like this is more of the show showing something to NBC. Like, you don't want to, like Lorne being like, you don't want to do what I want to do with the show. This is what the show could be next year. Like, if you want it your way,
Right.
these are the people that are going to be on your show next year. That kind of a thing. Because they were in the middle of the negotiations and the back and forths and what's going to happen. And we talked about the Fred Silverman limo for lamo thing, and that had happened already. So there already was a lot of tension between Lorne and NBC at this point. And I think it's just him giving one last like F you to the network and being like, hey, you have us. This is what you can end up with. Carl Quackenbush.
Carl Quackenbush. Gary Lipton, played by Walter Williams. Lucy Lawler. Robin Schermerhorn. And then Ron Waldo.
Wait.
Played by...
You completely went over Norma Jenkins.
I did go over Norma Jenkins.
Which I thought was the most really piece of that is African-American woman comes out and Buck's like, Norma Jenkins. And she's all excited. He goes, bye-bye, Garrett Morris. Like, of course, they'd only have one black person on the show when they come back.
Right.
It's his one line about her.
Yeah. Lee Maiman, who comes out with a tracksuit that says, I'm Lee Maiman and you're not. And then Ron Waldo, who is Don Pardo.
Which we get a first.
Who says he does a great Don Pardo.
Who would have thought? Season 5, last episode of the original era, Don Pardo finally gets his face on camera.
Didn't we have the whole Don Pardo documentary?
Yeah, he
thing?
wasn't in
Wasn't
it.
He
no, he wasn't in it. Remember, that was the whole joke. It was just his voice.
That's right. It was, yes. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the final monologue of the first 5 seasons.
Yeah, they lean into it right from the start. Buck walks out and he says, this is the 106th episode of Saturday Night Live, and this is my 103rd time hosting.
That's right.
Just goes right into it. I think they lean into the elephant in the room, the whole will they, won't they, and it's pretty fun. It's a good monologue. Yeah. It's fun.
I did feel like they didn't have to keep bringing so many people out, to be honest with you. But Buck did try to keep it moving.
Oh, I didn't think it was long. I mean, you needed a cast. I mean, here's your whole cast, so it made sense.
Yeah, I guess. It just, I don't know. Some of them didn't have any payoff, and some of them payoffs were not great. That's all. Dragged it on, in my opinion. Well, after the monologue, we go to an all-time sketch.
All-time.
And there's no better way to celebrate an all-time sketch than to bring in an all-time guest for us, Brad.
Indeed. We did this last episode by ourselves, but we would be remiss if we did not bring in our Buck Henry expert, John Snyder. What's up, John?
Douchebags, how are you?
Douchebag.
Thanks for having me back, guys. So great to finish this out with you.
We couldn't do this last episode, especially a Buck episode, without you in here somewhere. And what better spot than this all-time iconic sketch to talk about?
Well, I appreciate it. Buck's my man, and it's sad to see it come to an end, but it's bittersweet.
And what better way, really, to end 5 years of this show than with this sketch? It is an all-time classic, and it's one of those sketches that you don't always watch it in its entirety, but when you do, you realize how good it is from beginning to end. Mm-hmm. It's not like a one joke. I mean, it's kind of one joke, but it's not one laugh. There are many laughs throughout the entire sketch. It's great. I guess I should set it up. We're at Salisbury Manor in 1730 at a party given by Lord Salisbury, where pretty much the who's who of British society are there. And also everyone on the cast and from the writer's room are in this sketch as well.
Lord and Lady Douchebag. I am so frightfully glad you two could come. I was just asking Lady Salisbury, where the devil are those douchebags?
Well, it's been impossible to get him out of his workshop. He's been working day and night.
You douchebag? Well, I wasn't aware that you dabbled in that sort of thing. Tell me, what in heaven's name are you working on?
Well, I'd be happy to tell you, but perhaps after you've finished eating.
Well, now, here's Chambers right now. Chambers, get Lord and Lady Douchebag something to eat.
Oh, no, thank you. I'm not very hungry. A plate of raw vegetables would be fine. Would you like a dressing on that?
Just some vinegar and water, thank you.
Douchebag, how are you?
I haven't seen you in the House of Lords and Ages. Don't tell me, for the first time in memory, we're going to have a parliament without a douchebag.
My dear Sandwich, Parliament has always had its share of douchebags and always will.
Spoken like a true douchebag. I have often had the king's say of your family, and yours as well. Give me a sandwich and a douchebag, and there is nothing I cannot do. Hey, tell me, douchebag, when are you going to show us that invention of yours?
Yes, douchebag, just what kind of an invention are you sitting on?
I love this sketch. For as smart as it is and as well executed as it is, I think it's one of the best ever.
Well, what I love about this sketch, honestly, is just that I feel you got like one last moment of greatness from this era where it's been a rough go. Everyone clearly has wanted to leave, and they're sort of just like crawling to the finish line, and they just got some juice right at the end. They're like, let's just do one last banger. And I love this sketch a lot too. I feel like what is so good about it, in addition to the concept and the writing, which we have seen SNL sort of duplicate in the future a little bit, which we could talk about, but I feel like everyone in this sketch brings it. Like they all have qualities to their characters. It's like, I think 4.5 minutes. And so it feels like nice and tight compared to what we've been getting in seasons 4 and 5. I admire that this sketch happened in the final episode of the era, and it feels like a fitting conclusion to a great arc for the show in those first 5 years.
I agree. You made a great point. Just so nice to see in the final episode, this, like you said, return to greatness kind of a thing. And unsurprisingly, this sketch, I think we've talked about a little bit, has been around for years. Alan Zweibel talked about, he started writing this sketch, or wrote this sketch with Franken and Davis back in 76 when they were doing that Beach Boys special. And they would constantly try to pitch it, and it would never go, And finally, the last episode came up. I think Downey helped them with it too. So I think part of the greatness is that it's been around since those early years when they were writing such great, great stuff. And to bring it back with Buck is just like icing on the cake. And I agree, John. Everybody's performance, no matter how small, is great. This is what I've always thought of Harry Shearer when I think of Saturday Night Live, because he's so great in this sketch and he's always in this clip, and it's just, he's so committed to the role. Everybody is, him and Bill, even Garrett, just everyone is on the top of their game. And I love the ensemble sketches, and so it's so nice to see everybody one last time in a sketch together.
I think one of the first things that we talked about, the three of us, when you had me on in season 1 for that first Buck episode, is that the thing that would make Buck so great in this era is the well-known story that hosts wouldn't want to do certain sketches, and they knew that Buck was coming in for the finale. So they were like, okay, well, if this person wasn't game for it, we know Buck is going to be. And I think this sketch, though we don't know the exact how many times it got pitched or how close it got onto the air through the 5 years, it does feel like the type of sketch that's like, all right, we got Buck here, we could pull this off.
And it feels like the kind of sketch that he would champion, too. I mean, it has that Buck tone that you see in a lot of different sketches that he's associated with and a part of. And this one definitely, I feel like, has Buck sensibilities.
Or you could see Buck's eyes like lighting up if they pitched him this idea. And you want me to be Lord Douchebag and I've created what? Oh, yes, I'm completely in. Yes. 100%.
Yeah, there's that like creepy, weirdo, fun uncle side to Buck that you get in this sketch. And you mentioned Harry Shearer. I think that there's a couple of other people in the sketch that you really got to focus on as well. First is Garrett Morris, who has is clearly like down in the dumps for a while now. He has all the opportunity in the world to take season 5 and run with it if needed, with Danny and John not being there. He has some moments, and every now and then like he'll shine and you'd be like, it's Garrett. Mm-hmm. But like ultimately for me, Garrett is a story of untapped potential, probably not all his fault, due to the surroundings and the writing staff and the demographics at the show. But that he has this last moment and he's so good at introducing everybody in this sketch that like I feel like proud of Garrett almost in a way.
I totally agree, John. He does shine in this sketch, and his part is so small, really, but so important to the sketch. And the way that he delivers the lines, yeah, it's one of his great performances, I think, in the 5 seasons, because he delivers and does exactly what is needed for this role and sets everything up.
I agree completely. And then the other one is Bill Murray, who I think, is probably the star of season 5. But there is a moment that I always have watching this sketch where I look at him and I'm like, everyone says like Chevy's the original star, Belushi like had the popularity, we all love Danny. Like if you're really watching the show, you love Danny, but there's something about watching the arc of Bill Murray going from the guy who comes onto the show, who is kind of timid and has to even go up on screen and say to the audience, like, hey, I'm not bringing it, but I'm going to. And then you get to this last moment of his, him being there as a cast member, and he feels like fully formed. And I just feel like there's something so cool about that as well. So there's a lot of players in this sketch that I just feel like have storylines that hit in a way that others don't.
I love Bill in this sketch. One of my favorite moments of the entire original era is in this sketch. And it's this moment when Bill has the sandwich in his hand and he looks at Buck and he goes, yes, douchebag, what is it you're sitting on? And he almost breaks himself and has to bite the sandwich and chew and is like daring Buck not to break. It is one of my all-time favorite moments. And it speaks so much, like you said, to Bill Murray. And Bill's been interesting this season. We talked about it in the beginning of the season where Bill was angry. He kind of felt angry on screen. He was doing all that post Where the Buffalo Roam, Hunter S. Thompson, and him and Gilda weren't getting along very well. And as the season progressed, he got more and more fun. I remember the episode where like, Fun Bill is back. And he's been doing it these last few weeks on Weekend Update. And this whole episode, but especially in this sketch, it's like Fun Bill Murray is back. And to John's point, he's like, I'm the star. I'm going to take the reins and everybody come on my ride. And it's so fun to watch.
Yeah. And it really is throughout this entire episode where he knows he's done and he feels it. And he's like, we're going to go out and have fun doing it. And this sketch, that is a great moment when he's trying not to break and trying to get Buck to break. And just like, the way you started out, John, the douchebag, it's so good.
It's amazing. And, I know you're going to do a lot of summaries of season 5 as you get to wrapping up your coverage here, but 118 sketches for Bill Murray in season 5, which is, would tie Gilda from season 1. And then I think is second to Chevy, who was in like 130 something. So it's, he's really carrying a lot of weight for the show. And I think you feel it at the start of season 5, where he's just not used to the pace that he's getting. Mm-hmm. And I think what he showed here is that he can handle it. And I think that plays into him returning to host, so many times after versus some of his contemporaries, because I feel like he really got the show and he was just entering like the best he could possibly be. And I do think that if the original era had continued past this and Bill Murray had stayed on, he could have put up a few more seasons at this pace and been just as good if he wanted it.
I think that's a key, if he wanted it, because when Bill doesn't want to do something, you definitely, you see it and you feel it.
Well, and you mentioned those numbers for season 5. I would love to see the numbers because I'm fairly certain the vast majority are in the back half of season 5, because there are episodes where we would comment and be like, Bill's in every sketch from the cold open and the Weekend Update. He's in almost every sketch in the back half of season 5. Once when he kind of lightened up a little bit and realized where he was in his role and got comfortable with it, he would be start to finish the end of season 5, as we saw, all over the place.
Yeah. And just to get a little bit nerdy for a second, I'll say, back half season 5, 6, 5, 6, 6, 3, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7 is the sketch total. That's about 5.5 sketches per episode. So really good stuff there from Bill Murray.
One of my favorite parts of this sketch is always at the very end. We get friend of the pod, Alan Zweibel, comes in as Lord Argyle, or Duke of Argyle. That's what he is. He's the Duke of Argyle.
Yeah, and it's the sweaters that they're wearing as well, which I think really works so well. And, I mentioned it earlier, but I think SNL would use this sketch template in the future. It would be many years later, but we'd see it with Colonel Angus, which I think is a Tina Fey sketch that they would use. That became very popular. And I think that a lot of people love that sketch so much, they actually forgot about Lord and Lady Douchebag, unless you're of a certain age where you watched it. And then SNL would obviously try that again. They do like cork soaking and a cocking sketch as well. So the format was there, but I feel like there's nothing like going back to the original and seeing how how they did this. And I think that there's a structural thing that really works different than some of those sketches that came later, which is that the whole sketch isn't euphemisms for douchebag. It's building the world where all of these lord and ladies have sort of ridiculous names. And then you get to this precipice of the sketch, which is that these are the douchebags, and we're going to hit that really hard.
That was the last thing I was going to bring up, is the writing and creation and just execution of this sketch. Your point, John, if this never even went to douchebag, it's still a brilliant sketch. In the beginning, where it's Salisbury and Worcestershire, and would you like some Salisbury steak? And Bill's like, well, yes, but with a couple slices of pumpernickel, would you please? And like they've already set it up, like you mentioned, John, and played it up so well that the douchebag part is just that's what makes the payoff so good, is you've bought into the world so well, which they don't do later on. They just jump right into the heart of the matter, and that's what I love about this, is the building of it.
Well, I think a big reason I think that this sketch is so well crafted is, like you mentioned, Brad, they had been working on this for years. This is an idea that they had and they had worked on and kept coming back to, and I'm sure refining and perfecting, and they finally got it to this place where it's a damn near perfect sketch.
Yeah, it is.
And I think if they got it on air the first week back after doing the Beach Boys special, it's not this sketch. So there is benefit in holding on to it and refining it, and it's apparent in this sketch. Yeah. So, John, thank you for joining us on talking about this sketch. But let's talk about, you are our Buck correspondent. You've been on every episode where Buck has hosted, save for one, and this one. We had Bill Kenny sub in once. Let's talk about Buck and his tenure here, because he's not someone who ever comes back.
No.
This is the last we see of Buck, sadly.
Yeah, it is really sad. It's one of those things that does really make seasons 1 to 5 feel like their own show in a way. The fact that we don't get Buck coming back. He will be in the new show a lot. So that will be, sort of the next Buck Lorne collaboration. And then we see him briefly at the 15th anniversary of the show. So there is that moment there with Steve that I think is a really nice, ending to this, competition that the two of them had together before Alec Baldwin would put his name in the mix. But yeah, Buck Henry was always one of my favorite hosts. He always will be one of my favorite hosts. I think he defined the template of what a great host at this show can be. There was this concept with Saturday Night Live at the beginning, which was like, let's take these people out of obscurity that are up and comers, and we'll put them with an established star that they can learn from. And eventually they'll switch places. Eventually they'll get to the point where they become the star. And I think when Buck came on, he didn't have that gravitas. He was somebody who can fit in with the cast super well because there wasn't a Buck in the cast. And I think that the show would learn that there is an opportunity in the future to find hosts that can be additive to the cast instead of being so different from the cast, and that those shows can end up being some of the most successful ones we would see in the series. So I feel like he is, somebody who personally, like, I would build a statue of outside of 30 Rock. He's that important to the show.
I agree. And I think, to your point, John, he's different from the cast. He's older than everyone when season 1 starts. He's kind of this elder statesman. He has his own sensibilities, and I mean, he is a writer, so he has his own writing style too. And I think the way in which he collaborated with them and didn't force his style onto them, it was more of like he was willing to collaborate, I think, and lead and lend his sensibilities to a lot of things that just brought out the best in everyone when he was there, because I think they were all excited with what they had to offer when he was willing to do everything, like you said.
John, is it a feeble task, but could you do top 3 Buck episodes?
So I can give you top 3 Buck moments, if that's okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I feel like...
episodes are hard, right?
Yeah, episodes are hard because I feel like a lot of them are pretty similar. There's maybe 1 or 2 that don't match up to the typical Buck, but I would say like on par. They're mostly on par with each other.
I agree.
But I'll say like my 3 moments that I really loved talking about, especially with you guys, because we had so much fun with these. Number 1 is the samurai stockbroker moment. That was something where I really felt, and I think we talked about this, that's like the moment where Saturday night became Saturday Night Live, where we have this thing where John Belushi as the samurai takes his sword and actually cuts Buck's forehead. And in the sketch, he has to like react and do, and it's live. Like, how does he going to handle this? And then they end up for the rest of the night putting a bandage on his head, and then the rest of the cast will begin putting bandages on their heads. And I feel like this thing this magic you could only get by watching the show at 11:30 and seeing this go down is something that you would only really get on Saturday Night Live. And I feel like it is such a magical moment for me. So that would be my number one.
That's a good one. That is just an amazing moment, and he does such a nice job of reacting and just carrying on.
Yeah, I remember we talked about it, and there was that split 2-second moment where Buck didn't know what does he do? Does he go on with the sketch, or does he walk off? And he looks, and then he runs through the window. Yeah, amazing moment. I agree.
Yeah, there's so many good ones. I'll say my second one is, him working with the Anyone Can Host finalists. I feel like that is so iconic because it's something that the show has only done once to this point. I don't see them doing it ever again. But the show is basically at the peak of their powers. Everyone is watching. Everyone is talking about these cast members. And they come up with this insane idea, which is like, let's just open it up to anyone out there to apply to host this show. And the only way that they're able to make this work is by having Buck Henry there to bring in the finalists, to guide them along. And he's even there when Miskel Spillman hosts. And I feel like him, I think mostly about that monologue with him, introducing them one by one. I think it's a moment that is culturally significant. I think it's one that made people further invested in the show. And I feel like a lot of like reality television can like go back to that moment of like, what if I could do something with my life that would be really cool and gain this, notoriety in some way. And I just love everything about that.
I was reminded of that in the monologue tonight where he brought on the next cast, and it kind of had that feeling too, where he was leading people who are not on-air talent normally. And
he's really the only host that can do that. Like, Steve doesn't even really do it, where you just give him the show. Like, we need you to speak for us to everybody, as if you're part of the show, whether it's the new host or what might happen next year when we're not here. It just speaks so much to like how ingrained Buck is into the culture of this show and the fabric of this show.
I completely agree. And I was thinking that the monologue from this episode would probably be my third, just because it is so interesting how he sort of has this like fake passing of the torch to the future cast. But as I thought about it more, I think back to some of my podcasting journey, which is, I believe, how you guys found me, which is that I was on the SNL Hall of Fame podcast talking about Buck Henry. And when I did that episode with Thomas, we had a interesting conversation about the Uncle Roy sketches. And I was like, I'd been podcasting for a few years by then, but I still like wasn't really sure how to talk about the fact that I kind of like these sketches, even though there's a faux pas to them. And we talked after the show, and I'm sure Thomas wouldn't mind me saying this, but we were like trying to figure out like, what do we keep in there? What do we not keep in there? And then going through them with you guys, and going through each of these Buck episodes one more time, I just feel like Buck is willing to take things further than most hosts. And I think that there's a beauty in that. So whether it is the Uncle Roy sketches or the monologue where he like calls down like a woman to like have sex with him on home base, and it like this huge man ends up coming down. Like, there's these things that he does where we lovingly refer to him as Horny Buck. But I feel that he is willing to take the humor in places that other hosts will never go. And he does it in a way that doesn't feel like you can't love him. Like, he's our Horny Buck. Yeah. He's not their Horny Buck. Yeah. He's our Horny Buck. And I think that's a quality that we get from him throughout some of these sketches. So those are my really like three things that I think about with Buck Henry, and truly one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah, well said. I think those are all great things. The Horny Buck, you're right. And no one else can really pull that off in that same manner too, and not come off as lecherous and creepy. I think he does a really nice job with it. John, thanks for jumping on with us. Buddy. And thanks for being our Buck correspondent for all these years. It was great to have you on and talk to you about these things. I really enjoyed talking to you about the Uncle Roy sketches. It really was great because I like these, the different perspectives. So It's been fun. Thank you.
Of course, it's been a blast. It's been awesome to see your show grow, and happy to be a part of it. Happy to have you both on the Saturday Night Network as well. And whatever you do next, hope it's not the last time that we get to chat.
Woof. I don't know how you top that.
Well, you don't top it with the next sketch. The next sketch is Cow Minder's Daughter. So we're in India.
It took me a minute to get that, but yes. My first note is actually, oh, they're in India.
Yeah.
It took me a minute.
What did you think Buck had on his head?
Let's not, I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever my answer is, it will not be correct. So let's just move on.
No, I know. That's why I want to know. This is the last episode. Let's go down in flames.
Nope. Even when Laraine comes out and does whatever it is she's doing, I still didn't realize it. It took me a couple minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
I did enjoy Laraine coming out and playing guitar and singing. I think Laraine is a great singer.
She is. Oh, totally.
Underutilized. Yeah. So she comes out and she is a good singer, singing about the cows and living on this farm in India. And Bill shows up out of nowhere, really. He's some cowboy from Kentucky, he says. And he wants to work on a farm or work on a ranch. Unclear how he ended up in India, but it doesn't matter.
Before we go too deep in this, have either of us seen Coal Miner's Daughter? I'm just wondering if this is another Cool Hand Luke situation where you're going to know everything and I'm completely in the law.
No, I
Good.
have not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, maybe that's Bill's. Maybe that happened in the movie. I don't know.
Perhaps.
You know who was in Coal Miner's Daughter?
No, I feel like I should.
Lee Von Helm.
Oh, really? No, I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't have known that's where you were going.
No, it was. I mean, Sissy Spacek was. She won an Oscar, but regardless.
Right. So Bill sees Laraine, hears her singing, and decides he wants to marry her, even though she's only 12 years old. And maybe that's part
I
of
missed
the movie
that
too.
part.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think I was too taken aback by they made a starve yourself joke to Laraine.
Yep, that too.
Which bombed.
I mean, to be fair, it should have, one. And two, much of this sketch bombed. This did not go over.
No.
But also, you're coming off the high of the last sketch. Anyway, so Bill wants to marry her even though she's 12 and take her on the country eastern circuit instead of country western. We play both kinds, country and western. And he takes her to his friend, played by Gilda, who is a Native American Indian.
A woo-woo Indian, it's called, Garrett.
Yeah.
Woo-woo
Nope.
Indian. Is the correct terminology. Woo-woo Indian. I wrote it down just so I knew.
I thought you did not want to go down in flames.
Also, right before this, when he starts to tell her, like, I need you to come meet my friend, I wrote down, shit, she's going to go to a show. This is the 12-minute sketch of the day.
Yeah. It was.
I did like that she was playing at the Fillmore Far East. That was a funny joke.
That was funny. There were some funny lines in here. Gilda gives Laraine a chance. Laraine takes off and becomes some sort of star. And then at the very end, I forget what she says. Something about not wanting to do it anymore because she wants to be home on the ranch. And she's 13. She wants to stop doing this now. And then there's a crawl at the end.
Yeah, this is where it gets weird. This is where it gets weird.
Exactly.
Because there's like a technical delay, I think, on this crawl to end the sketch because they're biding time. There's this weird Pakistani joke, which is Bill's telling, which is basically a play on a Polish joke.
But that all felt like something was supposed to happen.
I think it's the crawl. Because he tells the joke and then finally the crawl shows up, isn't it?
I guess. I don't know. I guess that would make sense because in my mind they said something about a cow or cows.
Right.
And the way they stopped
they wanted
and looked
cows
off
to
screen.
Come.
That's what I thought.
Or that's what it was because there is a cow. There is a cow next to him at one point because that was kind of funny. There's a real cow next to Bill during this sketch. But they're calling like the cows are supposed to come or something's, but they're
That's
supposed to come and
thought.
nothing happens. And then they don't know what to do. And then finally they throw the crawl up.
Yeah. And I thought Bill did a great job improvising with that joke.
Yeah, it was interesting because he basically turns a Polish joke into a Pakistani joke. And you could tell they're biding time, but he does pull it off well, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, the crawl explains that Lorraine's character was killed during a stampede. That's what happens. Yeah. It was a very long sketch that I was very confusing. I don't know that if we were more familiar with Coal Miner's Daughter, it doesn't feel like it would have really added much, but I could be wrong.
I mean, it is odd that they go back to Laraine doing an offensive like Indian accent and the woo-woo Indian gag. It is surprising. I mean, for as much as I loved the last sketch and thought it was so smartly written, this is the exact opposite. 180 degrees, exact opposite. It felt completely out of place. Like, this is not a season 5 sketch. It felt like old and ungood, but in like an old way. Like, just nothing about this fit in this episode. This must have been another sketch they had in their back pocket from 1976, and they just resurrected this tonight too. I guess. Well, it couldn't have been because of Coal Miner's Daughter, but still, it's just.
But why play it so early in the night? You have to get the
the
cows
goats
out of there by a certain time.
Yeah, the cow had to be off by midnight. You couldn't keep the cow late. Yeah,
that's right. You don't want the cow to go into overtime.
Cows and kids.
Cows and kids. Andrew Gold goes into overtime with his number. Kiss this one goodbye.
Yeah, this performance feels longer than the Coal Miner's Daughter.
Yeah, it does. Are you familiar with Andrew Gold?
I refuse to look him up. I was watching this performance and I realized they missed an amazing opportunity to drop the cow in the last sketch. Or on this guy.
I was going to say they should drop the cow on him.
Or on this guy. That's what I was so bored. I was so taken out of this performance. I'm watching the last sketch. I'm like, that sketch needed them to drop the cow. It would have been an amazing callback, and I would have, my entire opinion of that sketch would have changed.
Yes. That would have been funny.
There's a point in this song.
Drop the cow on the rain. Man.
There's a point in this song where I swore that the band was singing a different song behind him.
Yeah, it's funny because I spent a lot of time looking at the band thinking, did these guys want to play behind this guy?
It's also not a good band.
No, they're not great. But the whole thing was just not great.
I believe that this dude was Lorraine's boyfriend, and that's how he got on the show.
Oh, really?
I've heard tale. I believe Ian has told this tale that Andrew Gold was Lorraine's boyfriend, and that's why he was on. Let's look him up right now.
Ian, if you're listening, call in.
Call in, Ian. Oh, wait, what? He wrote "Thank You for Being a Friend." The "Thank You for Being a Friend"?
How many "Thank You for Being a Friends" are there?
Yeah, apparently one. Yeah, he wrote that. The original. And then it was covered by Cynthia Fee.
Oh.
But he wrote that.
All right. But then we go to Weekend Update.
Not bad.
No. It was pretty good. It was also long. Talk about The Hague and Iran, Japan and Iran. Mount St. Helens had just erupted.
Crowd
Bill
liked the hockey update.
They liked the Islanders.
Beat the Flyers. Yeah, Islanders beat the Flyers. Took a dig at Anita DeBryant again.
Yes.
Been taking shots at her since season 1.
Yeah, the crowd really liked that. They were happy about that. And then Bill goes into this thing where he missed his cousin's wedding, so he pulls out a Polaroid and pretends like he's taking a photograph of the bride and groom and takes a photo directly into the camera with the flash.
Yes.
Which leaves ghosting in the lens for the rest of Weekend Update.
Yeah, he's told this story where he did that and pissed off the crew, which I was kind of like, did he not do it in dress then? I guess he didn't.
I guess not.
Or at least maybe not with the flash.
So he pissed off the crew because he took a picture.
Because he ruined the lens, obviously.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's on there for the whole rest of Weekend Update. They probably swapped it out after Weekend Update.
Yeah. Why did he do it? I mean, he mentions in the show that he made a bet.
Because he's Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Well, that was weird. There is that weird bit. He comes back to that after that where he says, like, I made a bet. What? And he's like playing with the audience a little bit. And it felt like he went like 2 steps back to that joke.
Yeah, it was interesting. He was a little just on his own during this part of Weekend Update, doing whatever he wanted. Then he introduces Jack Perkins, played by Harry, who does a report on the Walter Keane art exhibit and then plays a taped piece about art with huge eyes. It's all these pieces of artwork with giant eyes. We see Richard Belzer in this piece.
Belzer, Andy Murphy, anybody who's been part of the show, come on back. Well, Walter Keane is that guy who like stole all his wife's artwork and took credit for it in the 60s or 50s and 60s. They made a movie about her. That movie Big Eyes was about her.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was like Tim Burton movie. Never saw it, but I know of it.
Tim Burton movie.
I think it was Tim Burton.
Well, after that, there's another weird bit by Bill where he says that they expect no deaths this holiday weekend. This was Memorial Day weekend. And he said, I guess AAA says they don't expect any deaths this weekend. So go out and get drunk and drive around.
All right.
Just a weird way to go out. So they bring on Chico Escuela to talk about how he helped to avert the baseball strike.
Not bad. Garrett, I tell baseball players, I did like his line, cut the crap and play ball. That's how he got them together. Yeah, a good little piece. Nice to see Garrett highlighted tonight on the way out.
Yeah, good to bring back Chico one last time.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other desk jokes by Jane, and then she brings on Rosanna Dana to talk about Mount St. Helens. Turns out Richard Fader has moved to Washington State. Yeah, and then she goes into... She talks about how a volcano is like the pimple of the world. And of course, you can't live near it. It's going to explode.
The earth is like your body, full of gas and smelly stuff just waiting to get out. And the volcano's like a pimple.
And then she goes after Gloria Vanderbilt again.
I was going to say, they made another Gloria Vanderbilt joke, yeah.
And then Jane gets pissed off. And I liked when Gilda, as Roseanne, was like, uh-oh, here it comes again, about Jane being pissed.
That's right. I'm interrupting your disgusting story once again because it has nothing whatsoever to do with volcanoes. What? That's right. I'm interrupting your disgusting story once again because it has nothing to do with volcanoes.
Well, Jen, it just goes to show you it's always something. If it's not one thing, it's another. Either a volcano erupts or Jen makes a disgusting sound with her mouth because she's trying to make me sick. It's just like the poem my father used to say to me before I went to bed at night. It was written by my fashion designer aunt, Mirjani Rosanadine.
I thought it was a good way to wrap up that dynamic with the two of them.
It was good, and it was time. Like you said, this felt like a long weekend update.
It was a long weekend update.
It was an odd weekend update, too, like with that whole Bill camera gag, which felt weird, and the museum was like a weird pre-tape cutaway thing, and then you had two desk pieces, so there's just a lot going on and long, and you're just like, what happened?
Yeah, I was sad that we didn't have any of that Bill and Jane back and forth that we've had for the last bit of this season.
Right, we have had it pretty consistent, too, and it would have been fun to see.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that was a bummer, but I thought all in all it was pretty good, if long.
Yeah.
The next sketch actually felt short for one of these sketches, and I'm not usually a fan.
I'll give it that, and I usually am a fan.
This is Uncle Roy is back. So he comes in and talks to Jane, who references that her husband, normally played by Dan, is away at some convention, and thanks him for doing the things that he did around the house for them, like replacing the girls' bicycle seats and buying them a glass coffee table. And then the girls come down and Jane leaves to go to a dinner party. And then it's a typical Uncle Roy sketch where they want to play Uncle Roy Cousteau.
Search his pockets for buried treasure.
Yeah. I don't know what he called the game where they all put their panties on their head. I didn't understand that one.
Oh, I forget what that was. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he gets under the glass coffee table that he bought them while the girls are sitting on it, and he's taking Polaroids. And then Jane comes home and says that she's getting divorced and she wants to move away with the kids, and Roy
hold
won't have it.
Hold on. So then Jane comes in, and you think she's going to catch Buck. Well, she does catch Buck. And he's like, I'm sorry, I can explain.
That's right.
And she's like, you don't need to explain. I know exactly when I see whatever the hell the name of that game is.
Yeah.
She's like, I know exactly what the silly girl photo thing, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you girls go up to bed. So she like just totally dismisses him. He doesn't get in any trouble.
Well, she like blames the girl. She's like, "Don't make
Right.
Uncle Roy play these games."
Oh, right. Yeah. So then they go upstairs and then they sit on the couch, which I did think this was funny because this is the part Uncle Roy is still wearing the underwear on his head.
Yeah.
When they're having the start of this serious conversation about Jane thinking she's getting a divorce. She finally does take it off at one point, but it's very funny. I did think they were having this discussion. He's sitting there intently looking at her with the girl's underwear on his head.
Yeah. And then Jane talks about how her husband, thinks it's weird that Uncle Roy does all of this stuff. And then it closes with him saying, "Oh, there are more of me than you might suspect," to camera.
Because she's going to leave her husband and take the girls with her. And he's like, "No, you can't do that. No, don't." Right. She's like, "Oh, right. What would I do without you? You're like 1 in a million or something like that." And that's when he Then he turns to camera, sets it up. I with you. I enjoyed this one the least of the 3 times we've seen it. I don't know why exactly, because it's not like it's new ground or anything, but for some reason, and I think even the audience, when Buck walked in the door, it's almost like they didn't know how to react to him because they knew what was coming. And there was like scattered applause. It just felt like they didn't know what to do. Yeah.
Everyone was kind of like, what are we getting into?
Yeah. I don't know. This feels to me like a character in a sketch. Like it's very hard to repeat. And I liked the first one. Like it was a fun concept to see the first time. The second one they did was up in the bedroom. Like they changed it up a little bit. So it was like it was new. But like as you said in describing it, it's in the living room and it's kind of all the same thing. So we've seen it all before. So you're just like, why? And it was very odd to me, like the Jane coming in and not caring. I don't know why. But even before that, I just wasn't loving it. So I don't know. I think they might have just tapped the well too many times on this one.
I think so. I also said that after the first one, so I'm maybe not the right audience for it. Do you think they tapped the well too many times for Nick the Lounge Singer?
No, I do not.
I agree. So we are at Trader Nick's in Buffalo, and Bill is, Trader Nick this time, and we see Jane's Iris character come back. She's the waitress this time, and she took the spot of Dan, who would always come on and have a monologue.
Right, she's the co-character now. Like it's Bill and Paul and
and she introduces the drinks, and then he goes around, he talks to Buck and Laraine, who are a couple trying to forget their kids.
Laraine. Lorraine's actually supposed to be with the dude she's with.
Yes, that's right.
I was so ready, like what was gonna happen? I was so excited to see him go talk to Laraine, and then she was actually his wife. I was like, oh man. But it's a funny gag where they're kicked out of their house, and so they're at the hotel and they're miserable. They're like so sad and depressed.
They're trying to sell their house. And then we see Yvonne Hudson.
Yeah.
Who plays Yvonne Hudson?
Yvonne Hudson plays Yvonne Hudson with her boyfriend, Love Jones, played by Garrett Morris. What's your name? I'm Yvonne Hudson.
It was good to see her. I'm glad they put her on. And then there's a prom party with Al Franken, and Gilda's in there, and a few other people. I guess, who else is in there? Oh, you know what? I forgot that I totally skipped over. He introduces their actual Hawaiian bartender.
Yeah, you skipped over Akira. 2 weeks in a row, he's back.
Yeah. I totally forgot. I skipped over my notes.
Their real Hawaiian bartender. He's back there working a Bassomatic blender.
The real Hawaiian bartender. Yeah. This was fun. I thought his interaction with the kids was fun. Like, they're supposed to be kids, and he's like, look, we're being lenient on checking IDs, so just be mature and play it cool, and we're fine.
I like this. I like this one a lot. I think they crammed a little bit too much in there. Like, why was Iris there? I'm glad she was there because it was a lot of fun, but it kind of felt they were cramming a lot. But I think this is, with the exception of probably the Robert Klein episode, Bill's best Nick performance. I think he's great. The interactions, like you said, the interactions with everyone is fun. The song selections I thought were great. He does Stairway to Heaven at one point. And like when he goes to Buck and Laraine and they're all sad and he sends like a really nice ballad. He's like really into this sketch. I've had a lot of fun. This is probably one of my top 3 Nick the Lounge Singers.
Yes. He's really good. There's a part where he starts talking to the prom party. And he talks about wrapping his tree around the thing. But then going from that to Stairway to Heaven was brilliant. Like, I thought he did that so well. He was really, I agree with you. It was great song selection, and he just knocked it out of the park.
He does Bob Dylan's "You Got to Serve Somebody" as his first song when they come in, like, really well.
Oh, you may be the ambassador to England or Paris, France. You might like to gamble down in Atlantic City, you might like to dance disco style. You may be like Muhammad Ali, the heavyweight champion of the world. Or you might be a trader Nick's, serving insane guys and girls, but you're gonna have to serve somebody.
Serve somebody.
And on a night like this, you young fellas are gonna have to tip somebody too.
Just it was really fun. The set was a nice set. Like, second time with like, spare no expense this episode. It's great sets all night.
Yeah.
But there's a really fun set, this Trader Nick set. Yeah. This is really fun.
It is fun. It was a good one. I really enjoyed this.
And then on the way out, they take a nod to the future, and the Chiron going out is Saturday Night Live. Up next, Saturday Night Live garage sale.
In actuality, what was up next was Week in Review, hosted by Bill playing Paul Heverly. And he has a panel that consists of Harry, Jane, Garrett, and Buck. And you find out that Harry, Jane, and Garrett are all using pseudonyms. And then Buck introduces himself as Hugh Gaffney, a New York Times reporter. And it turns out these other reporters are all like, rag, like National Enquirer type reporters.
Tabloids.
Yes, that's the word. Thank you. And they start talking about the stories of the week. And it's funny. It's like, it's so outrageous.
The first one is they talk to Garrett, and he's telling the story. I'm like, a dog ate a child? What? And everybody but Buck thinks this is like big news, and they're all into it. It's hilarious.
Yeah. And Buck is just totally taken aback. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was funny. I thought it was smart. I thought everyone did well.
Did you?
Yeah.
I was torn on this one. It wasn't bad. I thought you were going to say, because I felt this, like it was a little undercooked. Like the premise was funny of a reporter roundtable.
Yeah.
Where the host and three of the reporters are ridiculous, and there's this one genuine, legit reporter who's out of place.
Right.
And you put Buck in the middle of this absurdist group and see what happens, and I feel like it didn't come to fruition as well as it could have.
No? I enjoyed it.
No.
I thought Bill did a really good job as the host of this. Like at the beginning when Buck introduces himself, he's like, "That's your real name, Hugh?"
Yeah. I like Jane in this sketch, I will say, as the Countess.
Yes.
She continues to deliver as the season winds down. She was great. This is like a great character for her that we've never seen her do before.
No. It was wonderful.
Really good. One last time.
How great is Jane? Oh, so good.
I have a question then.
Yeah.
Do you know why? Was there a reason that Harry Shearer was so fixated on the senior prom?
I don't know.
Because every topic involved the prom. Like there was one thing, and he was talking, I think, about the woman who left. I think he said even like when Buck was questioning whether the woman who left her child at home and got eaten by the dog is the story of the week. And he says, the only way this could be better is if she possibly left for the senior prom. This would be the story of the year.
Yes.
And then every other story, someone would say something. He was like, were they going to the prom?
Yeah, I don't know why. I thought it was funny.
And then I realized, and then you're like, yeah, then they had a prom in the Trader Nick sketch before. So I'm like, what's going on with the senior prom right now? Who's got a daughter in high school on the show?
It's prom time.
Interesting. I'm intrigued that you like that as much. I believe that was an Al Franken, Jim Downey, Matt Newman collaboration.
Oh, really? Nice.
I think so.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I liked the absurdity of a round table of tabloid reporters. That was really funny to me. I really enjoyed the next bit too. We have a commercial for Mommy Beer. So we started the interior of like a cabin, and a large group of guys, I should say. It's Bill, Buck, Downey, Brian Doyle Murray, Al Franken, and Peter Aykroyd come inside from hunting. They were hunting, and now they just want a cold beer.
We sure show those animals who's got guns.
So they all reach for a mommy beer. and then they all lip sync while a barbershop quartet sings the song.
Thirsty dear, mommy beer, for two-fisted pleasure, like old times you remember. Thirsty dear, mommy beer, suck back a mommy, she's the queen of all beers.
And the song is funny and ridiculous in and of itself, and I enjoy that it was sung by a barbershop quartet. But then the beer has a nipple on it. And at the end of the song, they all drink from the nipple.
The idea is funny. It's a funny sketch. I like the idea. It felt to me, and I don't mean this in a bad way, very season 2.
Maybe that's why I liked it.
Yeah, like I enjoyed it. It's Rosie wrote this. This is a Rosie Schuster piece. She's talked about it with Howard Shore, and I think Howard Shore's wife at the time also wrote this. But she's talked about how this is very much what used to be her wheelhouse, where she used to like to, put the male characters like hard hats, right? Like put them in a position they don't want to be in. She said you could see all the men squirming and like getting uncomfortable when they had to put the nipple beer in their mouth. So I think the song went a little long.
Yeah.
It would have been fun to go back and see the guys with more interaction with them. Because like you said, there's only a few lines of dialogue.
Yeah.
And then they go into this song. And then the song lasts pretty much the whole sketch. And I did like the tag at the end where they cut back and it's Buck with his regular voice. And he says, it's like the tagline for Mommy Beer, she's a bitch of a brew.
Yeah.
Which I liked. It's a funny idea. It's great. It had that early season energy to it, which is, I could see why you would like it.
Yeah, that's a good call. I did like it. I like it even more knowing that Rosie wrote it, so that's even better.
Yeah.
That's our last sketch, really, because next we have Andrae Crouch comes out with the Voices of Unity and sings Can't Nobody Do Me Like Jesus. So we're finishing up season 5 with a gospel number.
Yeah. It's odd.
I mean,
hold on. Let me preface everything I'm going to say.
Okay.
This is a great performance.
Yes.
Fantastic performance.
Yes, that's where I was.
One of the best we had seen all season.
Yeah.
But it is very odd that this is how you end the last show of what might be the last season of Saturday Night Live. But on the flip side, it is so good. I don't know how you put anything on after this.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
The energy at the end of this performance, you mentioned it's a gospel song. He's one of the like forefathers of like gospel singing at this time. And he just he's got a huge choir behind him, the Voices of Unity. And he's like, they're all clapping. He's trying to get the audience on their feet at the end. I mean, the energy at the end of this song is legitimately electric in there. So I don't know what sketch you would put on after this.
You can't. I mean, if you had put this earlier where Andrew Gold was, you could have followed it with Weekend Update.
I don't know. It is a closing number for a show. It just seems odd to be the closing number of this show. Like, have him on 2 weeks earlier with Bob Newhart or something. That would make sense. It just felt really weird to go out, like you said, on a musical number, or both of these guests. And again, Andrae Crouch, fantastic performance.
Yeah.
But if you're going to close out season 5, possibly forever, your show, you don't get a bigger name.
That's what I thought was interesting with the 2 musical guests this week, were that you didn't close out with a big name, considering all of the acts you've had this season. Even having Paul McCartney last week.
I was going to say, where's Paul Simon?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, you just had him, though, at the 100th, so maybe that's...
Oh, that's true.
But excellent. I am not familiar with Andrae Crouch, don't really know his music. I enjoy gospel music, and this was a fantastic performance.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any notes because I was just enthralled watching it.
Same. My notes were amazing and different, and it was both of those things. It was also very different than any other musical act we've seen this year. It was great.
Who's the last African-American act we've had on the show this season?
We had Sam and Dave.
That's it, right?
Some of the specials.
Because we've been getting all like rock and roll or new wave, all that, so much new wave. But yeah, different sound, great. I don't knock him for being on. It was just the only thing. It just felt odd to, this is how you end the final show of season 5.
Yeah.
And he'll come on 2 more times. He comes back in season 10 with Jesse Jackson. In season 15, he's back with the band. So
nice.
Great performance.
Amazing.
Man, so good.
Yeah, it really was. It was one of the best performances of the season. And we've had really good music this season.
Yeah.
And that's it. We go to goodnights. Everyone's out on stage. Buck says goodnight and goodbye. Mm-hmm. And then they all leave stage, and we go backstage and watch them all walk past the camera.
And the on-air sign goes off.
Yes. End with the on-air sign going off. And that's our show.
Yeah, it's a nice good night. The cast is all front and center, which is nice. The women are all front. They take the lead behind Buck. They all walk off. It's a nice ending.
Yeah, it is. It was a good show. It's a good season finale. Whether you knew it at the time or not that it was going to be like the finale, it was a really good season finale.
No, it's a decent episode. I mean, there's lots of good stuff here.
Yeah.
There's really just that not so great 15, 20 minutes Calminder's daughter, Andrew Gold
chunk
bit.
Yeah.
Other than that, everything else is good.
Yeah.
There's nothing else bad in the episode.
I agree.
Calminder's daughter's pretty shitty, and Andrew Gold is horrible. The rest of the show's fun.
Yeah, really good.
Super fun.
Yep.
And I'm glad that was early, because Weekend Update kind of picks up steam. You get recurring characters with Roseanne, and Chico. Like, everything kind of bounced up after that. It kind of picked up momentum and just build, and then you get that amazing song at the end.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because normally I'm the one that's like, why are you putting shitty things up front? But it kind of worked.
Right.
Because it comes after the peak, too, of Lord and Lady Douchebag. And then...
And it was funny because I sit and watch it and like, why? I know why you don't, but I was like, why don't you finish with that? Could you, like, that would have been the best thing to end with, is that Lord and Lady Douchebag skit. Like, if you were to be done, that was the last thing you put on the air. But too big of a sketch to build and all that, and all the wardrobe and the wigs and everything. I see why it's early. Plus, if people start tuning out, they're going to miss it. Right. You want them to see it. Yeah. So I get the reasons why, but it just would have been nice because it's such a great ensemble piece that would have been a note to go out on. And they bring it, like you said, they bring a lot of heavy hitters back. Chico's back. Roseanne is back. Nick the Lounge Singer. Uncle Roy.
Iris.
The only thing kind of conspicuously missing, I want to say, is a nerd sketch.
That's true.
Especially with Buck being there. I just feel like this would have put this episode over the edge.
Right.
Especially with all the world building they did with nerds that we loved. That's and then true. That last nerd sketch we got was that kind of weird one with the campaign where kind of they introduced all the other people. Like you started building this relationship with Enid and Todd's dad. And like you could have really closed the chapter really nice, I feel like. And we always loved Buck and Jane together. Like that just would have been the most perfect sketch, I think, to put in this finale. But it's nitpicking because there was a lot of fun stuff in this. But I did miss not seeing that.
No, that's a good call. Because you did. Yeah. You brought back Bill's big character and Gilda's big character. You brought back Iris for Jane, who could have been a bigger character, but didn't show up until the last half of the last season. It's a really good, really tight episode.
Buck delivers once again.
Yeah, it does feel good when you have the season finales that hit. You feel good about the season. Well, Brad, what are your best bits?
Obviously, Royal Party.
Yeah, let's just take that off the table. Yeah, we both.
That's a no-brainer. Yep. That's obviously in.
Yeah.
And I like I said, I love Trader Nick's. Yeah. Most fun, I think, since the Robert Klein one. Probably the second best, easily top 3, if not number 2. So much fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Trader Nick's. You said Trader Nick's, so I'm going to say Week in Review because I liked that. I liked that, the idea of that, and I liked the performances.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's bold. Should we? I mean, it has to be asked. Do we say Andrae Crouch?
I was just going to, yeah, I do.
I mean, it's really good.
Yes. He's
like surprisingly good. Like most people probably don't know who he is and you would write it off. But it was easily one of the best things we saw tonight.
It's easily, I don't know, what top what? Definitely top 5 musical performances of this season.
Easily.
Is it in the top 3? It's hard.
I mean, it's a little unfair because he only did one song. You're 1 for 1. When you do that second song, you roll the dice a little bit.
I'm just, I guess I was.
You mean just actual one
performance,
song?
Yeah. Like if you took the stronger, song from Bowie, and
it might make 5. The problem is Bowie gets like 3 of the top 5 spots. That's the problem.
yeah, he's really good.
That's doesn't know.
But I think that he definitely deserves.
He's got to go in.
Because the Voices of Unity were
amazing.
Yes. So yeah, that
choir makes that performance.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
it really is. It's a great way to end 5 seasons. We've done 106 episodes of this, apparently, of the early years.
Buck wouldn't lie.
No, it's amazing. We did it. We made it. We said we would do this. We said we would do the first 5 seasons, episode by episode, sketch by sketch, and wow, we did it. Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, man.
It's amazing. Well, next week, Brad and I are going to be sitting on a beach.
Yeah. Now what? Should have thought this through a little bit.
No, next week, we will be back with our season 5 wrap-up show. And then after that, we have some special shows that we're going to do to wrap up the early years, our show, the early years, because the early years is done. So next week, season 5 recap. Until then, good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Thanks for listening to the Not Ready for Primetime Project. Please remember to rate and review and follow us on social media everywhere at NR4PT Project. The Not Ready for Primetime Project team is Brad Robinson and Gary Seif. Our editor is Will Bond, who hosts his own podcast with his brothers, Reviewing Doctor Who, which you can find wherever you're listening to this.
Should have taken the over. We should just roll right in episode 1, season 6, right? Just get right into it.
No. I'm good.
Lord and Lady Wilkinson, the Earl of Sandwich, the Duke and Duchess of Argyle, Lord and Lady Douchebag, Lord Compost Heap, and his niece, Lady Disinfectant Cake, Lord and Lady...
Brad, why do you do this? Do you do this to hurt us?